Eli Mercer was not a hero. He was a maintenance mechanic with grease under his nails, a half-broken cargo ship, and a lifelong talent for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. His ship, the Patchwork, drifted through a quiet stretch of space far from major trade routes. One engine hummed nicely. The other made a noise like a metal can full of angry bees. Eli had been talking to it for the past hour. "Listen," he muttered, tightening a panel with a handheld tool. "I don't ask for much. Just don't explode before the next station." "That's all I need from you," the engine responded with a louder buzzing sound. Eli sighed. "That's not reassuring." A soft beeping came from the console behind him. He frowned. That wasn't an engine sound. That was a signal. He pushed off the wall and floated back into the cockpit, wiping his hands on an already dirty cloth. The small radar screen blinked with a faint red light.
"Distress beacon?" he said aloud.
He leaned closer. The signal was weak and drifting. No registered ID. No standard trade code. Eli looked out the front window at the endless stars. He was on a tight fuel margin. His cargo delivery was already late. Stopping was a bad idea. He turned his chair slightly away from the console. Then he turned back. He groaned, "If I ignore it, I'll feel bad forever." He tapped the controls and adjusted course. "Fine. But if this gets me spaced, I'm going to be very annoyed about it." The Patchwork crept toward the signal. After 10 minutes, a shape appeared on the long-range camera. Small, smooth, shiny. "That is not a human escape pod," Eli said. The pod was shaped like a silver teardrop covered in glowing lines that pulsed softly. One side was blackened and cracked, like it had been hit by something very powerful. Eli swallowed. "Okay. Mystery alien pod. Totally normal day." He matched speed and guided the Patchwork close. His ship looked like a flying toolbox next to the elegant alien craft. He extended a magnetic tether and gently pulled the pod into his cargo bay. The bay lights flickered on, revealing the pod more clearly. It was beautiful in a way that made Eli suddenly aware of every dent and rust spot on his own ship. A panel on the pod blinked red. "All right," Eli said, floating closer. "Let's see how you open." He pressed a glowing symbol. Nothing happened. He pressed another. Still nothing. He scratched his head, then knocked on the pod. "Hello? If you're alive in there, I am not qualified for this, but I'm trying." The glowing lines flickered. A soft hiss filled the cargo bay. A seam appeared along the side of the pod, and the shell slowly unfolded like a metal flower. Cold air spilled out. Inside lay a figure curled on a padded surface. Eli froze. She was not human. Her skin had a faint silver-blue tone that shimmered under the lights. Her hair flowed around her head like liquid glass, long and pale. She wore a fitted suit covered in delicate glowing patterns, now dim and cracked in places. Thin lines of light ran beneath her skin like tiny rivers. Her eyes were closed. "Oh," Eli whispered. "Oh, wow." A soft tone came from the pod. A warning sound. He shook himself. Right. Alive first, staring later. He carefully reached in. Her skin felt cool but not freezing. He checked for breathing. At least, what looked like breathing. Her chest rose and fell in a slow rhythm. "Okay, good. That's good." He pulled a small medical scanner from his belt. It was cheap, old, and very human. He ran it over her. The screen filled with symbols it did not recognize. "Helpful," Eli muttered. He noticed a deep crack along the side of the pod interior. A piece of metal had bent inward, stopping just short of where her head had been. "That was close," he said quietly. The warning tone grew louder. Yeah, I hear you." He unstrapped her gently and lifted her out of the pod. She was lighter than he expected. He laid her on a padded crate and dragged a thermal blanket over her. The cargo bay was not exactly a hospital. "All right, mystery alien," he said. "Please don't die." "I do not want that paperwork." A sudden loud bang echoed through the ship. Eli jumped. "That was not me." Another bang. The ship shuddered slightly. He rushed to the cockpit. On the rear camera, 3 small ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They were dark, sharp, and very much pointed at him. "Oh, come on," Eli said. "I just found her." A message flashed on his screen in a language he didn't know. Then a rough translation scrolled underneath. "Surrender pod and cargo. Power down engines." Eli stared. "You have got to be kidding me." He looked back toward the cargo bay, then back at the screen. He took a deep breath. "Okay, think. Think." Eli. He opened a channel. Hello? This is the civilian transport vessel Patchwork. I think you have the wrong guy." Another message flashed. "Last warning. Surrender." Eli glanced at the ship status. 1 engine weak. Shields low. Weapons toward technically existed, but one of them only fired if you kicked the console. He swallowed. Then his eyes drifted to a large red switch on the side panel. It wasn't connected to anything important. It used to control a mining laser he no longer had. An idea formed. It was a bad idea. Eli liked bad ideas. He flipped the switch dramatically and yelled, "No! I will not let you take my ship!" He slammed random buttons and turned dials wildly. "Reactor overload in progress," he shouted, even though nothing of the sort was happening. 10 seconds to core breach." He opened the channel again. "You bored me, we all explode. I already pushed it." "I don't know how to stop it." There was a pause. One of the enemy ships moved back slightly. Eli kept yelling, "I was having a bad day already." "Don't make it worse." He kicked the side of the console for effect. Something sparked. That part was not planned. 8 seconds, he shouted, sweating. The 3 ships pulled farther away. 7. "I think that was the right button or the wrong one." Hard to tell. The ships turned. 5 seconds. "Goodbye, cruel universe." They jumped to faster-than-light travel and vanished. Silence filled the cockpit. Eli slowly lowered his hands. He looked at the harmless red switch. Then he started laughing. Loud, shaky laughter. "I cannot believe that worked." A soft voice spoke behind him.
"You were going to destroy your own vessel?" Eli yelped and spun around so fast he hit his head on the ceiling.
The alien woman stood in the doorway to the cockpit, holding onto the frame for balance. Her glowing lines were brighter now. Her large eyes, bright silver with faint light inside, stared at him. "You're awake," he said, rubbing his head.
"You were going to die," she said slowly, like she was testing each word, "to stop them from taking me." Eli blinked.
"Oh!" No, that was mostly yelling and lying. She tilted her head. "Lying? Yeah, ship's fine." Well, not fine, but not exploding. She stared at him for a long moment. Then, very carefully, she stepped into the cockpit. She was a little taller than him, moving with quiet grace even while clearly tired. "I am Aerith," she said, "daughter of the Lyran sovereign."
Ellie pointed at himself.
Ellie, owner of a ship that smells like old socks. Ooh. She looked confused. "You saved my life, Eli." "I mean, I picked you up. That's not the same thing." She stepped closer, studying his face like he was the strange alien now. "You stood against armed hunters." "Alone!" I yelled at them, he said, very loudly. You were willing to die. I was mostly hoping they'd leave, he said, which they did. So, success. She reached out slowly and placed a glowing hand over the center of his chest. He froze. A warm sensation spread through him, like standing in sunlight. In the eyes of my people, she said softly, intent matters more than outcome. You chose to protect. Eli swallowed. You're welcome? Her eyes grew brighter. The glowing lines along her skin pulsed. Then, before the stars, I name you Life-Bonded Protector. Eli blinked. I'm sorry, you name me what now? A deep hum filled the ship. Outside the window, space shimmered. A massive, elegant vessel appeared, shaped like a crescent of silver light. Smaller ships surrounded it. Eli stared. Please tell me those are friends. Aerith smiled, for the first time. It was small, but real. Yes, she said. They have come for me. Eli slumped in his chair. Great. They can take you home, and I can go back to delivering machine parts and arguing with my engine. She looked at him with something like surprise. You do not understand, she said gently. I have bound you to me before witnesses of the void. Eli pointed at the window. Those guys count as witnesses? Yes. What does bound mean exactly? She hesitated. It means you cannot be dismissed. You cannot be sent away.
You are now, by law and tradition, mine to protect me.
Always. Eli stared at her, then at his ship, then back at her.
I only stopped because it felt rude not to, he said weakly.
Aerith's smile grew just a little. And that, she said, is why I chose correctly. The Lyran capital world did not look real. Eli Mercer stood at the viewing window of a transport shuttle, staring down at a planet covered in light. Cities floated in the sky like glowing islands. Rivers of silver ships flowed between towers that curved like glass sculptures. Soft colors shimmered across the atmosphere, like the world itself was breathing. He scratched the back of his neck. My ship is held together by recycled parts and hope, he muttered. And this is where I end up. Behind him, Princess Aerith stood calmly, her hands folded in front of her. She looked stronger than she had on his ship. The glowing lines beneath her skin shone steadily now, like quiet stars.
You are unsettled, she said. I am extremely unsettled, Eli replied.
Where I'm from, buildings don't float. If they do, we panic. Aerith tilted her head slightly, studying him again in that careful way she had. You fear falling? I fear everything falling, he said, including me. The shuttle glided smoothly toward one of the largest floating structures. It looked like a wide-open flower made of crystal and light. Other ships moved aside as they approached. Eli noticed the other passengers. Lyran guards in elegant armor that seemed grown instead of built. They were tall, graceful, and very serious.
Every single one of them kept looking at him, not in a friendly way.
One whispered something to another. Their eyes flicked to Eli again. He gave them a small wave. Hi! They looked away quickly, as if he had done something strange. Aerith noticed. They are not accustomed to humans. I'm not accustomed to me being here either, Eli said. The shuttle settled into a landing platform. The doors opened with a soft sigh. Warm, clean air flowed in, carrying a faint scent like flowers after rain. Eli stepped out and immediately felt underdressed. The floor beneath his boots shimmered like polished stone, but it was warm and slightly soft, as if alive. Tall arches curved overhead, glowing gently. Lyrans stood in two long lines on either side of the path ahead. All of them were watching.
Oh no, Eli whispered. This looks official. Aerith walked forward.
Eli hurried to keep up. At the end of the walkway stood 3 older Lyrans wearing flowing robes threaded with bright lines of light. Their expressions were calm, but their eyes were sharp. Aerith bowed her head slightly. Honored counselors. One of them stepped forward. His voice echoed softly in the open space. Princess Aerith, you live. The sovereign rejoices. His gaze shifted to Eli. And this is the human. Eli raised a hand. Hi. Sorry about everything.
The counselor blinked slowly. You apologize?
For saving our future ruler? I tend to apologize when I don't know what's going on, Eli said. There was a long silence. Aerith spoke gently. He is Eli Mercer. He recovered my escape vessel, defended it, and brought me to safety. Another counselor studied Eli more closely. He has no psychic presence? Yeah, Eli said. I get that a lot. The first counselor's glowing eyes narrowed slightly. And yet you invoked the life bond.
I did, Aerith said calmly. A quiet ripple moved through the gathered Lyrans.
Some looked shocked. Others looked worried. Eli leaned toward her.
They don't like that, do they? It is unusual, she admitted.
That's one word for it. The counselor spoke again. Human Eli Mercer, do you understand what the princess has declared? Not really, Eli said. Something about not being allowed to leave? Murmurs spread again. Aerith looked almost embarrassed. Bond is sacred. It cannot be undone except by death or by the princess herself.
Ellie stared at her.
So I'm hired forever? The counselor's expression did not change. You are not staff. You are a sworn protector of the royal bloodline. I have never protected anything bigger than a toolbox, Eli said. You protected her, Aerith said quietly. Eli opened his mouth, then closed it.
I yelled at some pirates. You stood between me and death, she said.
Alone. He rubbed his face. When you say it like that, it sounds much cooler than it was. The counselors exchanged a long look. Finally, the first one nodded. Very well. The bond stands. The human will be housed within the inner palace. Eli blinked. Inner sounds expensive. It is secure, the counselor said. Right. That too. 2 attendants stepped forward and gestured for Eli to follow. He looked at Aerith. Am I in trouble? He asked. No, she said.
You are under my protection now. That is not as comforting as you think. She smiled faintly. They walked through halls that looked like they were carved from light.
Walls curved smoothly with no sharp edges. Soft patterns moved across surfaces like slow waves. The place felt quiet, but not empty, more like a living thing at rest. Eli kept his hands in his pockets so he wouldn't touch anything and break it. This place probably costs more than my whole planet, he muttered. Aerith glanced at him. Your homeworld must be very wealthy. Eli laughed. Oh, no. Not even close. They entered a wide room with a tall window showing the planet below. Floating gardens drifted outside, full of glowing plants. This will be your living space, an attendant said. Eli looked around. The room was larger than his entire ship. A soft bed curved from the wall. A table formed itself from the floor as he watched. Lights brightened gently overhead. He turned in a slow circle.
I'm afraid to sit on anything. It will adjust to your comfort,
the attendant said. That's worse, Eli whispered. Aerith stepped closer. You will remain near me during most cycles. The bond requires proximity. Of course it does, Eli said. She studied his face. You regret helping me? No, he said quickly. I just didn't expect all this. Her expression softened. Neither did I. A chime sounded from the wall. A glowing panel lit up with symbols. Aerith touched it, then looked at Eli.
The Sovereign wishes to see me.
And you. Already?
I just got here. I haven't even broken anything yet.
That is good, she said. They walked again, this time deeper into the palace. The guards here wore brighter armor, the glowing lines stronger. Eli noticed something else. Whenever he walked past, some of them shifted slightly, hands closer to their weapons. He leaned toward Aerith. Are they guarding you from me? They are uncertain, she admitted. Humans are not well known to us. I fix engines and overcook noodles, Eli said. Very dangerous. They entered a grand chamber open to the sky. A tall Lyran stood at the far end, light flowing from her robes like liquid starlight. Her presence filled the space without her moving at all. Aerith bowed deeply. Mother.
Eli blinked.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Hi, Your Majesty? Highness?
Important person? The Sovereign's glowing eyes rested on him. Her voice was calm, layered, almost musical. You are the human who saved my daughter. Yes, Eli said. Sorry about the yelling part. A faint, unexpected smile touched her lips. She described it. Did she include the part where I almost tripped over a cable? She did not. Good, Eli said. The Sovereign stepped closer. You had no obligation to her. No alliance. No gain. I mean, Eli said slowly, she was in trouble. You help people in trouble. That's normal. For humans, the Sovereign said quietly. She studied him in silence for several long seconds. Eli resisted the urge to wave again. My daughter has bound you to her life, the Sovereign said at last. That is not a small thing. I'm starting to notice, Eli said. Do you wish to leave? Eli opened his mouth. He thought of his ship, his quiet roots, his simple problems. Then he thought of the cracked escape pod, the hunters, Aerith lying still and alone. He sighed. I don't want her to be in danger because of me leaving. Aerith looked at him sharply. The Sovereign noticed. You speak as if your presence increases her risk. Those guys who chased her? Eli said. They might come back, and if they do, I'd rather be around to yell at them again. Silence filled the chamber. Then the Sovereign nodded once. Very well. Human Eli Mercer. You will remain under royal protection. You will be given status as Guardian Protector. Does that come with instructions? Eli asked. It comes with responsibility, she said. As they left the chamber, Aerith walked beside him in quiet thought. You chose to stay, she said. For now, Eli replied. Also, I'm pretty sure I'm not legally allowed to leave. That is also true, she admitted. They turned down a quieter corridor. A shadow moved ahead. Eli noticed it first. A figure stepped from a side passage, walking smoothly toward them. Too smoothly. The guards at the far end of the hall had their backs turned, distracted by something at a wall panel. The approaching Lyran wore servant robes, head lowered. Eli frowned. Hey, he said quietly. Why is that guy walking like he's trying not to look suspicious? Aerith looked. Her eyes widened slightly. I do not recognize. The servant's sleeve shifted. Something metallic flashed. Eli didn't think. He grabbed a decorative stand from the wall and threw it. It hit the figure's arm. A small device clattered across the floor, skidding to a stop near Aerith's feet. Guards shouted. Energy fields snapped into place. The servant tried to run, but Eli stuck out a foot. The attacker tripped and crashed hard onto the glowing floor. Within seconds, guards had him pinned. Aerith stared at Eli. How did you know? He walked like a guy trying not to look suspicious. Eli said, breathing fast. Also, I watch a lot of bad action movies. She looked down at the small device on the floor. Its tip glowed with a faint, dangerous light. Her voice was quiet. That was a phase needle. It would have stopped my heart instantly. Eli swallowed. Oh, good catch, me. Guards dragged the attacker away. The hallway buzzed with alarm tones. Aerith turned to Eli, slowly. Her eyes shone brighter than before, but not with fear, with something else. They were inside the palace, she said. Past our defenses. Yeah, Eli said. You might have a security problem. She stared at him a moment longer. Then, very gently, she reached for his hand. This time, he didn't freeze. You are strange, Eli Mercer, she said softly. I've been told, but I am very glad you stopped at my distress signal. He gave her a small, nervous smile.
Me too. Above them, the floating city shimmered peacefully.
But now, both of them knew something important. The danger hadn't followed her by accident. It was already here. The palace no longer felt calm. Soft lights still glowed along the walls. Floating gardens still drifted outside the tall windows. Servants still walked quietly through the halls. But now there were more guards, more scanning fields, more worried looks. Eli noticed all of it. He sat cross-legged on the floor of Aerith's private study, tools spread out in front of him. A small Loran data device lay open in his hands. Its surface shimmered with light that shifted every few seconds. I still don't understand how this thing works, he muttered. It doesn't even have screws. Aerith sat nearby on a curved seat that had formed from the wall. She watched him with interest, chin resting lightly on her hand. You are repairing it, she said. That means you understand it. I'm guessing, Eli replied. Very confident guessing. The palace engineers had given up on the device after it stopped responding. Eli had tapped it twice, turned it sideways, and blown on a small opening. It had turned back on. Now several engineers stood near the doorway, whispering in disbelief. He struck it. One of them said quietly. With his hand, another added, still shocked.
Eli didn't look up. Percussive maintenance.
Ancient human technique.
Aerith smiled faintly.
You have become popular with the staff. That's because I treat them like people, Eli said. Also, I fixed the food heater. That was a critical system, she said seriously.
It was a box that makes things warm. Yes. Critical. He handed the device back to one of the engineers. Try not to drop it. Or do. Might improve performance. The engineers bowed slightly and hurried away. When the room was quiet again, Aerith's expression shifted. You are aware, she said softly, that there have been 3 more attempts to reach me. Eli nodded.
I heard about the one in the garden. And the poisoned air filter thing. She looked at him carefully. You do not seem afraid. I am afraid, he said. I just don't have time to panic properly. She stood and walked to the wide window. The sky beyond shimmered with distant ships. My people are strong, she said. We have technology, fleets, knowledge, but we did not see this coming. Because you didn't think anyone inside would help the bad guys. She looked at him. Yes, humans do that too, he said. Turns out smart species still make dumb choices. She was quiet for a moment. The council believes rival powers are testing us, trying to weaken the throne.
before my coronation.
By poking at you, Eli said.
Yes?
He folded his arms. Then they'll keep trying.
You speak with certainty. Because that's what humans do when something almost works, he said.
We try again, but sneakier. Aerith studied him. You think like them.
I think like a guy who doesn't want his friends stabbed with glowing space needles, Eli said.
The word friend made her eyes soften. Before she could reply, a sharp chime echoed through the room. The lights dimmed slightly. Aerith stiffened. Security alert. Eli's stomach dropped. Again? A voice filled the air, calm but tense. Unidentified vessels have appeared at the system edge. They are not responding to signals. Eli looked out the window, but nothing was visible yet.
Aerith's jaw tightened. They are not hiding anymore. More alerts followed.
Palace staff hurried through the halls outside. Eli felt a strange mix of fear and focus.
Okay, what's the plan? My fleet will intercept, she said.
We remain here. He gave her a look. You think they're just going to politely fight in space and go home? Her silence answered him. Another voice came over the system, more urgent. Multiple small craft have broken formation. They are heading toward the capital. Of course they are, Eli muttered. Aerith turned to him.
You must go to a secure chamber.
You first, he said. I am required in the command hall. And I'm required near you, remember? Life bond, no returns, no refunds. She hesitated, then nodded once. Stay close. They moved quickly through the corridors, guards forming around them. The palace felt different now, less like a home, more like a target. As they entered a central command chamber filled with glowing displays, Eli saw space projected in the air above a round platform. Tiny lights marked ships moving fast. Bright flashes showed distant battles. Those are ours? Eli asked. Yes, Eris said. Another officer turned. Princess, several enemy stealth craft have evaded orbital defense. We are tracking possible landing paths. Eli pointed at one blinking line. That one's heading straight for us, isn't it?
Yes, the officer said grimly.
Great! I just learned where the bathrooms are. A low tremor ran through the floor. Impact in the lower district, someone called out. Aerith's hands clenched.
Evacuate civilians. It is in progress, an aide replied.
Eli watched the display. 3 small enemy signals split apart.
They're not, aiming at military targets, he said. They're going for chaos.
Aerith looked at him. To draw us out. Yeah, he said, and maybe grab something important on the way. Her eyes widened slightly. Me. Before he could respond, the chamber lights flickered, then went out. For half a second, everything was dark. Emergency lights flared red. Internal breach! A guard shouted. Energy signatures inside the palace. Eli's heart slammed in his chest. They're already here? Aerith's voice stayed calm, but tight. Form defensive rings. Guards moved instantly, weapons raised. Eli looked around wildly.
Okay. I don't have a weapon. I have
a toolkit. He pulled a heavy metal wrench from his belt. Close enough. A loud crash echoed from a distant hallway. Then another. Screams. Eli's hands shook, but he stepped closer to Aerith anyway.
I thought your palace had shields, he said. It does, she replied.
They found a way through. The doors at the far end of the chamber exploded inward in a shower of sparks. Tall figures rushed in, wearing dark armor that bent the light around them. Their helmets were smooth and featureless. Guards fired beams of light. Energy flashed across the room. Eli grabbed Aerith's arm. "We need to move!" A side passage opened as a section of wall slid aside. They ran, guards covering their retreat. The hallway beyond was quieter, but distant alarms echoed everywhere. "Where are we going?" Eli asked. "Emergency transit shaft," she said. "It leads to a lower secure wing. Please tell me it doesn't involve jumping." "It does not." "Good." They reached a narrow platform. A glowing field formed beneath their feet, lowering them smoothly down a vertical shaft. Halfway down, the field flickered. Eli's stomach lurched. "Oh no."
Don't do that. It steadied again.
Aerith looked upward, worry clear on her face.
"They're targeting infrastructure."
Rude, Eli said. The platform reached the lower level.
They stepped off into a quieter corridor. For a moment, there were no guards, no staff, just them.
That's not good, Eli whispered. Aerith nodded slowly.
"This wing should be full." A soft sound came from behind them. Footsteps. Eli turned. 3 armored figures stepped into view from the shadows of the corridor they had just exited. Their weapons hummed with low, dangerous light. "Nope," Eli said. "I officially hate today." He pushed Aerith behind him, even though she was taller. The lead attacker raised a weapon. Eli lifted his wrench. "I swear, if this works, I'm never shutting up about it." Aerith's hand touched his shoulder. "Eli?" "Yeah? Do not die. I will do my best," he said. The attackers advanced. Before they could fire, a blast of bright energy hit the wall near them, forcing them back. Lyran guards rushed in from a side passage, engaging the enemy. "Princess!" one shouted. "This way!" They ran again, deeper into the secure wing. Eli's lungs burned. "I miss my broken engine," he gasped. It was quieter. They burst into a reinforced chamber. Thick doors slid shut behind them with a heavy thud. Inside were several guards and control stations. "For now, we are secure," a guard said. Eli bent over, hands on his knees. "Cool. Great. Love that." Aerith moved to a console, calling up external feeds. Her face grew pale.
"What is it?" Eli asked. "They are withdrawing," she said.
"That's good, right?" "They achieved something," she said softly. An officer checked another display. His expression darkened.
"We have a breach in the Royal Data Vault."
Access logs show a targeted extraction. Eli straightened slowly. "They weren't just trying to grab you." "No," Aerith said. "They wanted information." "About what?" he asked. She looked at him. Understanding dawned in his chest like cold water.
"About humans," he said quietly. She nodded once.
"Your species resists psychic influence. Your minds are difficult to read. That makes you valuable."
"Valuable how? As soldiers, agents."
"Weapons."
Eli swallowed.
"I fix engines." To them, she said, "You are the beginning of something dangerous." He stared at the floor. So now the whole galaxy might want humans. Yes. "Great," he muttered. "We just got invited to the worst party in the universe." Aerith stepped closer to him. "I did not mean for this to happen." "You didn't start it," he said. "You just crashed into the one human who can't ignore a blinking light." Despite everything, she gave a small laugh. Alarms still echoed faintly in the distance. The battle in space continued far above. Eli looked at the sealed door. "They'll come again," he said. "Yes," Aerith agreed. He took a slow breath. "Then I guess I'm not going anywhere." Her glowing eyes held his.
You choose to stay, not because of the bond. Yeah, he said.
"Don't make it weird," she smiled softly. Outside, the war for the future had just begun, and somehow, a tired human mechanic was now part of it.